Does anyone else remember how a common comedy routine in older cartoons was that bit about the babysitter getting distracted on the phone and the family pet having to keep the baby from getting hurt? I loved those cartoons. I found them very relatable. Because when my mom was at work, my grandmother would watch me. But not really, because she was usually busy on the phone or watching Oprah. None of our pets protected me though, so I just got hurt. Huh. It was definitely a bad thing that I found that relatable. Anyway, one time when my grandmother was talking on the phone, I walked right past her, pulled a big knife out of the kitchen drawer, grabbed a bag of salad to make salad with, and she didn't notice. I was trying to cut the already shredded lettuce into smaller pieces of lettuce to make smaller salad, and when I almost cut off the tip of my finger and ran to my grandmother for help, she just stared at me. And kept staring at me, doing absolutely nothing to help as I ran to the bathroom, washed off the blood, and then patched myself up with 3 different Band-Aids by myself. And when my mom got home from work, she was not happy. But hey, you get what you paid for, and my grandma was free. Actually, considering how my grandma let me have free range of the kitchen to play chef, all that money on groceries wasted might have made my grandma watching me more expensive than paying for a sitter. I mixed yogurt with coffee grounds and baked it. I was trying to make coffee cake. I made people eat that. It was like chewing rubber. Sometimes my grandma was terrible at adult supervision even when she was paying attention to me. She would just let me do stupid crap. Like when I wanted an already tall chair to be even taller, like a throne, so I put it on the couch. But it was too wobbly for me to get on, so I thought I should tie it down to secure it more. I didn't have any ropes, so I just used my mom's pantyhose. Almost all of her pantyhose. And I triple knotted it. And my grandma just watched me. Not only try to do something dangerous, but also ruin my mom's things and just let me do it. Mainly because she thought pantyhose were for immodest women and was happy to see me destroy them. When my mom got home, she spent over an hour trying to get the knots undone before cutting her losses and cutting her pantyhose to get the chair off of the couch. My poor mother. Sometimes my grandma was the one to suggest doing things that no properly supervised child would do. One time, she was very insistent about going to Walmart so she could shop, but I was refusing to go. Because I was 7 years old, and what 7-year-old wants to go shopping with their grandmother? Running errands was boring, and I had cartoons to watch. She kept saying she wanted to go, she needed to go, she couldn't wait until my mom came home and she didn't have to watch me anymore to go, she needed to go now. And I kept saying I wanted to stay home and play with my cat. So my grandmother, in a moment of peak adult supervision and setting a good example for the child she was responsible for, decided to take the cat to Walmart with us. My grandma put the cat in the cat carrier, drove us to Walmart, put the cat carrier in a shopping cart, and tried to enter the store. And we were immediately stopped by a greeter. This poor woman then had to explain to an old lady and a child why you can't just bring a cat into a store. This was not something that should need to be explained to an adult. This was also not something my grandmother should have tried to argue with her on. If this happened in 2023, there would have been 3 different uploads of this shit show all over the internet. But it didn't, and cell phone video recording wasn't much of a thing back when I was a kid, so the internet will just have to settle for this storytime animatic retelling. Oh, but the story's not over yet. It gets worse. These stories about my grandma always get worse. After being kicked out of Walmart and told we couldn't come back unless we didn't try to bring an animal in with us, some would call this rock bottom, but I've seen my grandmother go lower, I started buckling up in the car to go home, and my grandma told me, no, we weren't doing that. We were still going to go shopping at Walmart. We were just going to leave the cat in the car. In the car, with the windows rolled up, on a hot summer day. My cat was fine. I mean, this was still animal abuse, and my grandma is messed up for doing it, especially since there was a literal child telling her that this was a bad idea and we should bring the cat home first, then come back. But my cat didn't die or anything. He was okay. It's just when we finished shopping, we found he peed in the car. Yeah, that was definitely karma.